Hello, everybody, and welcome to D&D News. I am Greg Tito, and I'm here to say you should play D&D every day. I just made that up. I'm a poet, definitely rolling 400% on my performance skills. I don't know about that. Have you ever done that where you're like, I am going to be the best, and you roll your performance and it's a 20? And then you're like, I can't actually perform at a 20. That's the whole fantasy here. Yeah, I've had that happen a few times as playing bards across the years. That's right, Jack. I never even figured it out. I know. It's a thing. It's happening. We're having fun on this Tuesday. It is so many fun things happening around this here office. I like to talk about them a lot. That's what this is going to be all about. I'm going to show you some fun things that you may never have seen before. We got some of them here. We got some things here. That's upside down. Can you read it? I've even got some fun things over here that you also haven't seen. I'll be opening those up and playing with them for your enjoyment, because that's what I like to do here. I like to make you happy. That's what it's all about. Hi, Elwarius. Good to see you. I love this sweater, too. It's more of a sweatshirt, really, but I enjoy it. It's got the nice little, character things going on here with the original red box art going on. But the best part about this sweatshirt is that it's so huggable. I really just want to give myself hugs the whole time I'm in meetings, mostly because I just like hugging myself and wanting to feel safe. But it's doing good. That's true. I thank you for allowing me to believe that I'd struggle to perform at a 20, and that is also very true. That Lauren would be able to rock the house with her oboe skills at all times. I saw a band here in Seattle called Too Many Zoos a couple of months ago. I really enjoyed them. But what's really neat about them is that they're percussion, baritone sax, and trumpet. And they were funky and amazing and created music with just those three pieces that blew my mind. Now, I would like to add an oboe to that mix and see what craziness happens. What do you think, Lauren? Do you want to join a funk band with me and my bard? I'll promise I'll roll 20s. This is how you play guitar. I don't know if you know that too. You go like this. All right. Before we get to all the fun things that are happening for Wizards products out there, of which there are many, I would like to tell you about what's happening in the press. So there are so many amazing, fun things going on. One of my jobs here is doing PR for Dungeons & Dragons, so I do have my fingers on the pulse of what's happening for Dungeons & Dragons, as well as my own blood pressure. Those were too high. Maybe it's because I had like 4 of these today. But we recently ran a feature in USA Today, which I showed you guys the physical copy of, I think, a few weeks ago. But a lot of other fun things is that we recently had a Inverse, our friends at Inverse, which I have an image for this right now, which I will show you. So you don't have to just look at me looking down the whole time. Inverse released 25 celebrities reveal how Dungeons & Dragons shaped their lives. This is a really fantastic article that goes into, many actors, performers, people that you may know, and people that you may not realize had Dungeons & Dragons. So a lot of this article is a little bit about just finding 1 or 2 snippets from different articles that had to do with the creator and what they were doing, but then how Dungeons & Dragons was a big part of it. But a lot of these on here you may not realize have stuff that is impacting today's culture in a lot of ways, and that's one of our big talking points, is that the folks who were playing Dungeons & Dragons in the 80s, 90s, and even the 2000s are now creating content and storytelling in their own medium of choice, whether they be novelists like or comic book writers or just writers in general like Ta-Nehisi Coates, to filmmakers like Jon Favreau, who you may have seen if you follow on Joe Manganiello on Instagram. You may have seen him playing Dungeons and Dragons with him, as well as amazing people like Matthew Lillard, friend of mine, who just recently turned 50 years old. Happy birthday to Matthew Lillard for turning the big 5-0, and how much his involvement with the D&D community has exploded over the last few years is pretty very cool. He tells his story about how he started playing 25 years ago. There's also folks like Brendan Lee Mulligan on this list, who we just had on Dragon Talk. He's the Dungeon Master for Dimension 20, as well as a few other spin-offs of that in the college humor vein of things. He had a very heartfelt interview with us and brought me and Shelley Mazanoble to almost tears. We definitely had some welling up going on about the poignant moments that happened in his home game, which is really great. So he's on here as well. Some folks you may not know, such as the lead vocalist of My Chemical Romance, Gerard Way, is on this list, which I think is pretty cool. Jerry Holkins, who we all know and love. Dan Harmon. David Benioff, who has also played with Joe Manganiello, and D.B. Weiss, the main creators behind the HBO Game of Thrones show. Juno Diaz, who all of his writing you may not think would fall under a D&D umbrella, but he says wonderful and nice things about D&D. So the list goes on and on. I'm not going to go through. Wait, David Lindsay Abair says it on here? I love it. He's a playwright, many of whose plays I had done all over when in my theater days. That's crazy. I didn't realize that. And here he is telling the New York Times about how being a dungeon master is essentially the tribal storyteller who gathers everyone around the fire to tell stories about heroes and gods and monsters. So cool. So great article. Check it out. And I've said this a few times about other things. This is a great way to point to people who are, I wouldn't say necessarily non-believers in Dungeons & Dragons, but might scoff at its importance. And you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't know or love some of the works by the 25 people on that list who cite D&D as a huge reference. So pretty cool. Yes, Elwarius, I saw that clip too. Important note, if you watch the Netflix series you might see a reference to playing D&D at the aforementioned Joe Manganiello's house. And so that's where not only is it actors and creators playing together and then making TV shows on its own. That's it. The activity of playing at his house directly referenced in the dialogue between two characters that aren't the creators themselves. That bit of meta nature blew my mind too, especially since I played D&D at his house, and now that means I'm referenced in, that Netflix show, which always makes me go a little bit crazy in my head. By the way, I rolled really bad on my performance checks when I played there. So another thing I want to let everyone know is this little bit from BuzzFeed. We're getting all of the super meme type of press out of the way right here. 51 little gifts to remind your significant other that you love them. Dive into right away and start brainstorming what kind of mayhem they get you and your pals into. That's right. This is all about sharing little gifts like D&D with your significant other. And I think that's perfect leading up to a little thing we like to call Valentine's Day that's coming around. They want you to get the starter kit for your significant other. That's number 25th on this here list from BuzzFeed. So yeah, hopefully more people are getting that for their significant others, not just for Valentine's Day, but just for general, for wanting to play with each other. It says the starter set, but you might even think about, it says the starter set, but you might even want to think about getting them the Essentials kit, because that way the two of you can play together. There's enough within the Essentials kit that allow you to recruit some excited waving. Recruit some sidekicks that you get into your party, and then that way you can facilitate one-on-one play a lot easier with multiple sidekicks in your party. Not just sidekicks, but sidecacks. I like that. Essentials kit forever. Another fun thing that I wanted to shout out is this 10 tabletop games that are more fun in small groups. Betrayal at House on the Hill. That is one that is perennially at the top of everyone's list, whether it be for best horror game, as mentioned there, or for smaller groups. And I agree with that. If you cannot find a group of 400 people to play a massive game, you can get 3 or 4 and play a really fun session of Betrayal at House on the Hill. I think you can make it happen. And there might even be some new fun ways to play Betrayal at the House on the Hill coming at you. And Jack in the chat is so true by saying Betrayal at Baldur's Gate is a fantastic mashup of that type of exploring gameplay with D&D. So if you haven't picked that up, you should. And there's a lot of great things going through it. You might be able to catch up with in your Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. And finally, I wanted to show you guys this. You might have seen this on Twitter, but I'm very intrigued and want to learn more about Pixels, which is a kind of dice that allow you to program what lights go on depending on what rolls you make. So I believe it's all controlled through Bluetooth with an application, but the promise there is pretty cool, and I want to learn more. So I don't know much about it. Again, it looks like it's at pixels-dice.com, letting you control how they light up based on your rolls. So say you can plug in there your specific modifier. So if you roll, it can do the math for you if it's all app based. Say you need a 15 or higher on the die in order to succeed at something. You can roll the dice. Maybe this is something that the DM can control by knowing the DC ahead of time, not to be confused with DC in the chat. So the difficulty challenge, is that what it's called? Was that what DC stands for? Difficulty concept? I don't know. But I just think it's really cool being able to figure out, that's a success. And then we've all seen the dice that flash red when you get a 20, a natural 20. That's, going to be true all the time. I would love to be able to be like, oh, green, you pass, red, you fail, and then just kind of know that right away without even having to do the arithmetic in your head. Thank you, class, JMaxo. You get a plus, and Lisa Penrose, you get a fluffy kitty prize. Good for you. Because difficulty cats, I think, is the most important thing out there. Yeah, I'm agreeing with her. It's definitely difficulty cats. So cool. Again, can't wait to learn more, and I think it's going to be really neat. And little fun bit that's not, I got an image here, but something that I'm also wanting to learn more, which is Nickelodeon is coming out with a game show called The Crystal Maze, which harkens back to some of the old adventure-y, Double Dare type game shows that used to be on Nickelodeon back in the day in the late 80s, early 90s. But this one specifically calls out Escape Room meets D&D writ large. And the show, Adam Conover, he said he's a huge game player, from Dungeons and Dragons to Fire Emblem, and I thought that's pretty cool. Me too, Lisa. Me too. It totally reminded me of it, so I loved it. All right. That's all that's going on in the press. Again, probably the biggest thing, which I'll show once more just so you see it, was the USA Today article. This is up there. It's racking up the best sales in its 46-year history, and that's very true. So shout out to everyone in that article, including Nathan Stewart, vice president in charge of D&D franchise. Chris Perkins has some great quotes in there. Satine Phoenix does some wonderful shout outs near the end of that article that are spot on and really good stuff all around. So check out that article too if you haven't already. Even though it's a couple weeks old, I I like pointing it out to you out there, my D&D news friends. I would like to say that we are super excited for Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. This book is running off the charts. It is making waves all over the world, including on Amazon as well as other places. So Amazon tracks the list of best-selling books, the entire best-selling book list. They don't like distinguish it by genre or different channels necessarily. Just like all books are up there. Things that are pre-ordered versus things are, and that was up there at the top, which is fantastic. Everyone I have been hearing from in the critter community is ecstatic about this, as well as folks outside being thankful that they will have more information and more classes and more lore to pull from in order to insert into their campaigns. I can't wait for Explorer's Guide to Wildmount to be out there in the in the wild for folks to play with. We're doing lots of promotions here, trying to figure out how best to get Dungeon Masters playing in that world and going into it. And we just did some great lore you should know segments with Chris Perkins, all about the continent and the geography, as well as the gods and how they are similar to the 4th edition pantheon of gods that were released here from this building in D&D, and how Matt Mercer and the cast, through cooperative storytelling, have expanded and altered those basic archetypes that were in that pantheon to come to fruition with a whole new thing. And I think the important thing about Explorer's Guide to Wildmount for me is this kind of thesis statement that you can take any type of material, whether it be the official material that comes here out of the D&D office, or material from myth, as in the case of the Uncaged anthology, or any type of storytelling out there, and you can, use your own ideas and synthesize that all together into a new thing. And that's exactly what Matt Mercer did with his World of Exandria, as he took pre-existing material, his own wonderful ideas, the ideas and input from his cast, and they've all blended together, as well as input from Chris Perkins and the freelancers who are working on this product, to create a whole that in some ways is what every Dungeon Master does at his or her table all around the world, playing Dungeons and Dragons when they're doing their homebrew setting. So exciting, and it will be in stores everywhere March 17th, so mark your calendars. It is also March 17th, a very important red letter day, because it shares a release date with another product with the word Explorer in it. So Forgotten Realms Laeral Silverhands Explorer's Kit also comes out on March 17th. That is a dice set similar in form and factor to the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus dice set that everyone loved. So you'll get beautiful looking blue sparkly dice, as well, 11 of them. 2 d20s, 4 d4s, 2 d10s, so 11 dice altogether. In a beautifully designed felt box. It opens up and now have 2 dice trays that you can roll your dice within, not to mention a map of the Sword Coast and Waterdeep, and several lore cards in the same form factor as the box of dice that you can use to spice up your game. So there's a lot within there, and I'm excited for more people to roll good looking dice. Speaking of which, the D&D anniversary dice set I'm seeing all the articles and reviews and excited posts from people who have received those. So thank you to everyone who got those. Again, those are another set of 11 dice. Where's that cough button? From our friends at Level Up, they designed these aluminum dice in a beautiful case. One of the D20s with these metal aluminum dice has a lab-grown sapphire, an actual sapphire in the D20, so that when you roll a crit with that die, it sparkles like blue. There's also a thank you note from the D&D community, not to mention some game material that you can use in the 5th edition of a Sapphire Dragon. That's right, a gem dragon. And that content, even if you just want to get the dragon content to use in your game, is available on D&D Beyond for purchase right now, with all of Wizards proceeds from that sale going towards Extra Life. Extra Life, we had a wonderful, wonderful campaign in 2019 for the kids. That's where we raise tons of money for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. A lot of our donations go to the Seattle Children's Hospital, which my daughters and many of the progeny of Wizards of the Coast team members have been in, and it's fantastic. We, as a company, Wizards of the Coast, raised $1.1 million for Extra Life in 2019 alone. Out of that, the D&D team raised $390,000. And that's a huge growth from last year, which we just did around $200,000. The year before that, we had raised $120,000. So we're exponentially growing in excitement and funds raised for the kids for Extra Life. And I think that's really, really cool. And you can contribute to that right now by purchasing that Sapphire Dragon content. And that would go towards our 2020 total. So always good to get at the top of the list. One of the cool things about Extra Life is that they presented Wizards with an award for being a really great sponsor of their program and raising so much money for so many years. So that's really great to get some recognition from Extra Life. But we're not going to rest on our laurels. In 2020, we're continuing to raise money for the kids through Extra Life, and we'll get more details about ways that you can do that and help raise some more money from your communities soon. So thanks a lot. I wanted to let you know that the final issue of the Painscape, that's right, Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons 2, Painscape, a new series of comic books written by Jim Zub and illustrated by Troy Little, that details what's happening in the Dungeons and Dragons fueled fever dreams of Rick and Morty. The last issue came out this month, culminating that series, and so look for it if you haven't already. I don't have the last issue, but this is issue number 3, or one of the variant covers for issue number 3, and that should be in stores pretty soon too. Speaking of things that are in stores that I want to throw out there, so we talk about shirts or t-shirts or things like this, but many of you have phones. I know you do. And you put your phone in this here case like this. But wouldn't it be cool if the case had ampersands, D&D ampersands all over it? What? Check that out. I am so excited about these because I've been getting requests for them for years. So these are by eCell. They are available now on Amazon. There are a lot of different varieties of them. Some of them are hard, like this one is. This one's got like the Fist of Tyr on it, which I think is pretty cool. There's a lot of different variations, and you can purchase them and get them however you want, and all types of variations. Most of these are for iPhone though, so there's iPhone 11, iPhone 6, 6S, 7, 7.8, 7 Plus, all the latest iPhone models. I'm not an iPhone user, so I won't be able to get these for my cool Google Pixel phone, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if eCell will be doing more of that. But I love these a lot. Again, having, you know what these need though? Some stickers. You want to put some D&D stickers on there, like a nice little Hoots Magoots right about there. Would look real good. Not to mention this one. This is probably more my style on book cover. That's just a plastic cover. That you will put on the back with the ampersand writ large on there. This is a platinum ampersand. You can tell. I agree, Jack. It would be really cool if they made pixel versions, but we gotta see. We gotta see if they can make that happen. So yeah, they are available now. Well, wait, and but now UK. There you go. You said you wanted the one big pixel. There you go. You saw that one, right? It's there. Also, something that's very, very cool that is entering in stores, which I want to open this one up before I get to D&D Rewind in a little bit. Look at this. Look at it in all of its glory. These are the icons of the realms, cave defenders. You might have seen these in the past, but I just think it's really smart to package more miniatures in things that you will actually use for running Dungeons and Dragons or playing as it. Like you're like, okay, yeah, you're always gonna need orcs and ogres and goblins, and these are some of the most iconic monsters that you're gonna find, and so you can pick them all up in this package. These are available now from WizKids. They also, one thing that doesn't really get a lot of love in the miniatures world, and I will actually open these up when I'm playing through D&D Live so you can actually see them played, but I love this idea of having a lot more arcane, mighty conjurations happening. So one thing as a wizard who uses the conjuration magic, you're creating a lot of things. They show up on the battlefield and you don't have the right miniature or representation of them. You end up using dice or whatever kind of counter you have here. But imagine now being able to cast Mordenkainen's sword and then actually have a Mordenkainen sword pop up, or use a force cage and a force cage will drop down, like an actual physical cube will drop down over whatever baddie you appear to be fighting. These look so cool. Again, I'm going to open them up so you can get into them a little bit more detail. But those are the mighty conjurations. And then there's even more spell effects. Yes, sir. Hallister's tumultuous templates is what it's called. But these are, gosh, yeah, these are fantastic. These are ranges of what the spells are. So you hear the triangle for spear, the fireball effects, not to mention all the other spell effects that go on there, and is super cool. The web, oh god, all right, I'm gonna open those up. Burning Hands is in there. I love Burning Hands. It's like one of my go-tos. So being able to drop those down and have a physical representation that matches your imagination of what those spells look like. Magnifique, as they say in the biz. Here's some more images of those phone cases in case you guys were wondering. I totally forgot. I should have just been cutting to this because this looks amazing. So many different variations beyond the ones that I showed you there. All right. I also have this box shot of the Laeral Silverhands Explorer's Kit and all of these fun things. This is what it all looks like. I was describing this to you with my words instead of actually just showing. I gotta realize that pictures are worth 5,000 words, and 5,000 words is a lot of words. All right, so now is the time for what we like to call in the biz D&D Rewind. That is where we put together all of the best role-playing moments from here on D&D or twitch.tv/D&D over the last week. Hopefully you find some great show to follow along that you might not have been, or just use this as a recap of what the best or most memorable moment for many of the fans are out there. So let's get going with some D&D Rewind.
He rolls a 23.
Okay, so how do you successfully Batman yourself out of this?
Right.
Yes.
So so the first thing he says, my pronouns unheard are he, him. And then he looks around, he smiles really quickly, and he says, ninja dust. And he throws down a ninja
dust.
He throws
Why
down.
do you say it?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad you said it.
Right.
Someone had to.
When Batman is about to
Yeah.
disappear,
Yeah.
and then he says, bat dust,
dust,
yeah.
and
Bat
throws his
Bat
smoke.
But what? Yeah. Bat smoke. Why did you say that name?
I know this is dangerous. I know this makes you uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, who came to you in your hour of need, if not me?
I don't know who you are.
What's my name?
Friend.
Again.
You are my friend.
Again.
My friend.
I take my hand and I place it on his and I squeeze it gently. Yes, that is what I am. I implore you, listen to your friend. I know what is best for you more than this city. Please, Orso, let me be your friend.
We're going. Sure.
All right.
Great.
Well, Freely appears to be having a meltdown.
I feel like I'm having a very appropriate difficulty, like, cogniticizing all of this.
At least you're trying.
Just,
You're doing better than I am.
wait a minute. Did you take the Phoenix from her? You give her back the Phoenix.
This is my world, and I cannot do that. Gods cannot influence this plane of existence. Those are the rules. The minute you leave, she will be fine.
Okay.
Especially considering who she worships.
Okay, so it's not that suddenly the Phoenix is dead or anything. It's just I'm just having a hard time talking to it, right?
Or Kara, the magic has always been within you, not them. But yes, you will be able to talk to the Phoenix when you return.
Yeah, the important thing is the friendship, not the magic. It's the person. It's the okay.
He puts his skeletal hand on your shoulder. Or Kara, you have this.
Yes,
You are strong enough to get through this.
He starts to say something to you, Bryn. He's like, pretty motley company you've got. My God. And he looks up and we see Lulu just floating there, fluttering her wings, and she's like, waves to him, little elephant fingers, and his eyes go wide, and then he grits his teeth and he puts his hand to his head and he's like, I saw things. Maybe that helm wasn't pointless after all. You were there. And you and none of you were there.
All
just
right,
that elephant.
Dorothy.
Yeah. And then a house landed on this witch. And I swear, and he looks down, he's got these beautiful red slippers on. No. So he sees, it triggers something in his brain, and he's just like, wait, I saw, before I got cut up in that tornado between Torm and that horrible goat-legged jorts-wearing creature,
Baphomet wears jorts?
And he looks at you and he says, even here in this terrible place, I wouldn't have imagined such a blasphemy. The creature wore denim pants cut off at the knee, roughly, as if with a knife.
They weren't even hemmed. That's a
He
travesty. A crime against fashion.
He knows, he says, as soon as I return to the city of Baldur's Gate, I'm going to lay such a ban upon these jorts. Such a ban that no member of my city will ever wear them again.
Callie. Do it. One last time.
Okay.
Roll twice.
Roll.
Yeah.
Just roll.
Yeah.
Don't even tell you what I'm
Yeah.
going to do. I'm just going to roll.
You're attacking, right? With your daggers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got this. Nat 20.
Nat 20! Wow, that's your first one. Give me your second one.
Okay.
So good.
Oh, I think I pulled something.
No, you're good.
3.
Okay, so that's fine. With the Nat 20, how do you want to finish him off?
Ooh, I like this question. Mom, don't be watching right now.
God.
I want to run and I want to jump and I want to put both of my things in his eye holes.
In his eye holes.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so you basically run up, and he's kind of got his arm like this. Yeah. You run up. He's on his knees, whatever kind of. But you kind of set one foot on his open shoulder area of the armor, and you stick both daggers in. And as you do, the basically the whole armor just goes.
Yes, I do.
And you pin the. And you pin.
Where's my place now?
and you pin the helmet to the ground with your daggers, and you guys are now out of initiative, and that's how it's done, folks. Your first.
Pulled that out of my hat.
It's your first creature kill.
Up top.
Nicely done.
Up top.
Nicely done. I mean, up top for the 17 damage. That really did it. But good job, guys. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Hi. I'm playing with toys over here. Oh my gosh. So that was amazing. I loved all of those clips. I was actually wondering if the mic was still alive because I was laughing so hard about jorts and how Baphomet wears jorts and how terrible they are. Who does that? No one does that. That's upsetting. Thank you, Adam, for banning it as much as you can all over Baldur's Gate and beyond. So gross. And that moment of killing all those people, having a first kill, always good to get under the belt. I love the lighting and just the overall ambiance of that show in Curse of Strahd there too. Very good stuff. Dilligaffern, no jorts. No jorts. Not gonna make it. But if you would like to have a clip that is one of your favorites, go on D&D Rewind. There is a way for you to do that. You can make a clip in Twitch using the Twitch interface. Do this. I think that's all you have to do to make a clip. You just go like, tick, 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 and it happens. But then, make a little bit of a edit around that, show it to everyone on the social media, get people excited about that clip, and our esteemed editor who takes care of D&D Rewind, Steve Sprinkles, will take all of those clips and use the most upvoted or popular ones with the most views as a guide for those that he picks and puts into D&D Rewind. So good stuff all around. I really enjoyed the Beyond Heroes clip, trying to figure out what's going on with Phoenix. The Creepy Jazz, who's talking about being your friend. I don't think he's actually your friend. I think it was TK that pointed out here in the chat that said, why does he not sound like a friend? I don't think he is, but maybe it's a good spell nonetheless. So good stuff. I want to move on to talking about D&D Adventurers League before I get into talking about some toys that I might have here for your enjoyment. D&D Adventurers League is D&D's official play campaign, which means that you can create AL characters and take them to your friendly local game store, conventions, charity events, even your own home. Anywhere that an Adventurers League game is being played, those are going to be valid. So lots of fun stuff happening out in the Adventurers League. The first one is Avernus Rising. That adventure campaign is now new to the DM's Guild with new adventures. That campaign features the search for the Hellrider souls. So some of what the folks have been playing in there is going to be awesome. Those souls remain untarnished but trapped in Avernus, and you can accompany a mysterious child into the hellscape and face the temptation of making fiendish pacts and bargains with them. There are now 10 of modules from the Avernus Rising campaign available in the DM's Guild, 3 of which were added this month, and on February 11th there will be a new edition. So check your calendars for everything that's coming through that campaign. There is also a cool adventure called The Losing Fi. That is designed by James Introcaso, and it is premiering at the Roleplay Rally earlier this month. Fai Chen is missing, the merchant of record for many Adventurers League players out there, and he needs your help. But you'll have to be careful not to anger the master of Mojave's traveling emporium, whose protection is crucial to your mission. And if you're looking for adventure set in Eberron, from the Eberron Rising from the Last War book, perhaps, we're inspired by then, the Adventurers League Oracle of War is a thrilling tale of destiny filled with espionage, romance, and pulp action. You hold the fate of Eberron in your hands as its greatest villains conspire to seize control of a powerful magical artifact. With it, the draconic prophecy will be deciphered. I think it's a mug. I think that's what the powerful item is. The Oracle of War will steer... maybe we'll just call this the Oracle of War. What do you think? The Oracle of War will steer the future of the world. There are 2 modules available on the DM's Guild, with the next release slated for February 4th, so that's coming up next week. You can play Where the Dead Wait. That was designed by James Introcaso, and it is. Oh, both of those adventures are designed by James. You can ambushed by undead and forced to seek shelter. You turn to the Oracle of War for a lifeline, but things don't always go as expected. One cool thing that the Dungeon Masters Guild and the Adventurers League is doing is supporting those affected by the Australian bushfires. So you can help the AL Adventure Designers and the DMs Guild by purchasing Adventurers League Australia Brushfire Relief Charity Bundle. The DMs Guild also has Fight Fire with Games charity drive, supporting Australians affected by fires through the Red Cross of Australia and the World Wildlife Fund in Australia. The Adventurers League bundle includes around 30 titles that are just $10, $9.99, and at least 2 of those were nominated for any awards, which is pretty cool. We've and you, by the community who has purchased a lot of these bundles, have raised more than $10,000, and your purchase of the AL bundle alone, and we are really looking forward to seeing how much, as a company, this community can provide to everything that's happening to our friends down in Australia. So check that out for more things going on there. There's also a couple of conventions coming up for Adventurers League folks. The Winter Fantasy RPG Convention is fast. That's in Fort Wayne, Indiana, February 5th through the 9th. That's next week. It is organized by Bald Man Games, partner of many things out there in the Adventurers League world, including running the D&D Epic at D&D Live 2019 The Descent. Winter Fantasy is a great way to get in touch with that community if you're in it local. So there will be tons of games, 4 days of Forgotten Realms, Oracle of War, Tal'Darai, as well as Esper Genesis games going on there. And there will also be a lot of fun happening at the UK Games Expo, May 29th through the 31st in Birmingham, United Kingdom, UK. That's right. Will Doyle, game designer and one of the fantastic Adventurers League admins, will be there supporting everything that's happening, including some Tier 4 modules that will be premiering at that show. So check that out. So everybody, we don't have any photos to share because Adventurers League photos have not been coming in. So please, anyone out there who is running a awesome Adventurers League event, send in your photos to community@dndadventurersleague.org and share a little blurb about the event, who is there, what goes on at your friendly local game store. We love sharing tidbits from everyone from around the world, and I just love seeing the pictures of people having fun, posing, being in costume, or just enjoying rolling dice together. It's really cool. So please contribute. Send some more your way, our way, so I can show them off here. Okay, cool. So I have been opening up all of this fun stuff, and I'm going to show it all off to you in the last 10 minutes or so that we have here for D&D news. So I alluded to this last week, but one of the premium item that you can get from our partners at WizKids in the Everon thing. Well, I already took it out of here, so that doesn't look as good. So look at this side. This is the Everon Sky Coach. It is a flying ship that you can use on the same scale as all of our D&D miniatures, and I was just trying to put some of it together as we get here, but this is what the ship looks like. This is kind of a movable sail. These things will allow you to steer there, and then there's some other little bits and bobs that you can add to create some fun adventure. So this is a ladder that looks like can hang off there, or I don't know, I'm not sure where it hangs. Maybe it just hangs like that. That will allow you to have people come in and out. There's a stand so that this will actually stand up, I believe. And there's also some more fins and a ramp or a gangplank and lots of other fun things. So I can imagine this being super interesting. This is not a galleon, Drake Blackbeard. I don't think it's meant to be a one of the larger ships. This is a Sky Coach, so I would imagine it more like a pleasure barge or something like that that you could use for some of the rich people out there who want to get into that kind of stuff. All right, so then I was opening up also the Conjuration this here, Mighty Conjurations. And there is a wealth of fantastic stuff that I want to show you. So this is the dimensions of a flame sphere. How many times have you tried to be like, how does the flame sphere work and who's it going to touch? Now you can put this on top of your miniatures and kind of move it, because part of the flame sphere spell allows you to move things around when that's happening. We mentioned the force cage. This looks like a force cage pretty good right here, doesn't it? Huh? You can barely even see my face in it. Hello. Hello there. Can you see me? I'm in the force cage. Love this. Perfectly to scale. Just big enough to stay on my head. But if you wanted a smaller version, dun dun dun, you can do it as a box, right? Or you can also use this force cage as a box and put it there. So that's pretty cool. And then as long as all the other conjurations out there, this probably is my favorite. Can we take a guess as to what this miniature is meant? What spell is this meant to reproduce, huh? I could probably put this in my nose if I really tried to. Anybody? Anybody? It's pretty cool. I haven't seen anybody say it yet in the chat. This one, oh man, yes, rope trick. You got a high five, grave mistake. I think I've just made a grave mistake. These are dancing lights. There's 4 of these. So, as part of the fun of having a cantrip that allows to create stuff and conjure things, you can use 4 flaming lights out there. Who hasn't wanted to have a healing spirit around, huh? I want a healing spirit. This is a little tiny, extremely tiny healing spirit for you. I've seen swords before, but this Mordenkainen sword is probably the coolest looking one I've seen in a while. It's got that like kind of downward angle that you're like, it'd be stabby, stab, stab, stab. No good. This is what a different healing spirit might look like. It's a beast. Not really a fairy, it's more of a beast. Dun, dun, dun. I am a healing spirit beast. And then every warlock's favorite, the arcane eye. Well, I guess a wizard, actually. Arcane eye. What does it look like? Oh, now you can kind of manipulate this and put this. Well, I'm going to look around that corner. I'm going to look around that corner, my arcane eye. Do you think if I just inserted this in my eye, I would have some arcane... Just kidding. I love all these. There's more in here, including, I'm going to show off this one big one. It's making a lot of noises. That means it's going to be really big. Oh, wait, it's tied down with some plastic. I broke it, but for a good cause. Who is this spectral guardian? No, this is the guardian of faith. I am a guardian of faith. That's my hymn. I just made that hymn up, everybody. You guys can sing it too if you want to. Whenever you cast Guardian of Faith, it's for you. That's for you. I just made that for you. That's rolling a 20. That's rolling a 20 on my performance check. God, what about popping these things out? You roll a 20 on that. Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. Wait, hold on. Stop. Hammer time. God, what is this? Oh, this is the flaming sphere. Hold on, I was lying before you guys. This is the flaming sphere. That actually makes a lot more sense. This flaming sphere actually does look like flames in a sphere. It's kind of heavy. It's got a lot of resin kind of feel to it. Again, it's the right scale, so it's it's like a model. Fitting this. This one is Leomin's tiny hut, which I like to refer to as Leomin's tiny hat. So conjure that, whiz kids. See if you can make that happen. I don't think that's true. I don't think you can make it happen. It's impossible. These are available very soon from our friends at WizKids, so check it out. There's also Leomin's Secret Chest, Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound, and all the other fun stuff that I already showed for you. One thing that's not in here that I didn't want to pop all of them out, but they're also Bones of the Earth. So you can see them here. I'm not going to pop out all of them, but there's 6 of them there for Bones of the Earth. When you cast that spell, that can be a big part of getting it in there. All right, and so the last thing I wanted to show, wait, no, not that, was these over here. How long can I do this, you guys? All right, so these are the spell effect rings that are out here. Look at this. How many times have you been like, let me count out the number of squares when you're using minis that a angelic spirit guardians would do. So you can see you can see the angels motif in there, and you can just put that down, and all of a sudden it changes the battlefield. This one over here, I can't believe I still have this on my head. These are what you might refer to as fireballs. There's 4 of these, so you can kind of, put them together and create a ring that is a fireball size. Maybe you just go, how do you put it? I don't know, these snap? Yeah, there you go. They might just snap together. Of course, as soon as I snap these, my thing's gonna fall off my head. No, there you go, it worked. So you create, this is just a half circle of it, but just to illustrate, you click those together, and then all of a sudden you got the circumference of a fireball. And then, since they are bacon and made from pork, you can just eat them. Delicious. All right, but that's just one of the layers here. There's also the Spirit Guardians in Fae. This is a good one of Fairy Fire. Fairy Fire. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Having a fair. I always thought Fairy Fire was specifically. Thank you for playing Ring of Fire there. That is perfect. I thought Fairy Fire was only on target, but I guess you could do it in an area like that if you wanted to. This is Burning Hands. This is how you will throw out your Burning Hands. I always thought of it more as a, like a gridded cone because it was the 15 feet thing. But if you wanted to have like a little bit more of a thematic look here, and I think Shelly and I were talking about what the somatic component of Burning Hands is, just of course like throwing out your fingers like that. So having one of your characters doing this looks pretty badass. This is Fear. Ooh, I like the way that this is designed. This one's got lots of screaming skulls and other fear-inducing things on the edge. Fear also has a cone type shape to it, so that's why they went with a triangle. And this, I'm sorry guys, this one is actually the fireball. This is the fireball circumference in the perfect circle. And this one was the Spirit Guardians, but in the fire spirit. So that's why these bacon type figures are actually fiends. This is the Spirit Guardians in fiend flavor there. And then the final ones are probably one of the most, most used out there. This is a moon. Ah, dang it! That was the moonbeam did me in. This moonbeam here definitely feels very, very moonbeamy. Goodbye, Leoman's tiny hut. This purple is Hypnotic Pattern. Oh, that makes total sense once you see the swirling and twirling of what's going on there. And then Web. This is the biggest I think you can make web. I always use the smaller kind of 5 feet kind of version, but this definitely feels spider-like, like a Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Web. Speaking of Web, we're talking to Morgan Webb on Dragon Talk on Friday. That's right. Shelly and I will be interviewing Morgan Webb, who you have seen throughout the years on Acquisitions Incorporated. Super fun. Can't wait to talk to her. I don't think we've ever met before, which is odd, but I'm excited to jump in and talk through. Maybe we met like in passing, but get her story about how she started playing D&D and what that was all about for her, as well as what it's like to be playing with Jerry and Mike all these years, not to mention Chris Perkins as Dungeon Master and Jeremy Crawford and the differences between them. I can't wait. So look for that. That's this Friday. We'll be talking to her around 1 p.m. Pacific time. Hopefully we'll have her here in the studio, but if not, she'll be calling in and going through all that fun stuff with us. So very excited to talk to her. And yeah, that's right, Lauren. I haven't seen her in a long time, so can't wait to to get on the horn and pick her brain. So look for that. There is tons of great content coming out on twitch.tv/DND all the time. We are getting ready for D&D Presents. That should be happening in the next month or so on a regular basis. So look for that in this forthcoming time slot, which is 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays. Chris Perkins, Pelham Green, and the rest of the cast are excited about that. They're actually going to be in the studio this week doing some fun Session Zero or more Session Zero stuff together. So I'm excited about that entire cast and can't wait to be seeing them on the regular here on D&D Presents at 4 p.m. Pacific time. But I'm also really excited about the return of Rivals of Waterdeep this Sunday, and as well as Tales from the Mist and all the fun stuff that is going on here. Roll20 Presents has been knocking it out of the park as well with their Avernus and Jace Balerion Must Die things out there. D4, rocking the Casbah, and we just got more and more plans coming down the pipe here for 2020. Look for it. Thank you so much for being around and drinking some coffee with me. I had a great time. D&D Live 2020 is in the works. I can't give you a specific date right now, but there will be more coming at you. It's going to be fun. I can tell you that much. You're the best. Look for Joam and Defiance Wrestling. Not tonight. They're taking tonight off, but tomorrow, meaning a week from today, rather, they will be rocking and rolling with none other than Freddie Prinze Jr. That's right. The actor, the performer you may recognize from Dragon Age Inquisition as the Bull, not to mention all kinds of other things in his previous life as a teen heartthrob, you might say. He will be jumping in to all the fun stuff that's been going on with Hyper Show set in Eberron with a wrestling, sports entertainment type thing going on in the world of Eberron. It's really fun. They're taking this week off. They'll be back next week for their finale with their special guest star, Freddie Prinze Jr. Tune in for that next week. All right. Thanks, guys. You are all the best. I am out of here. I will see you next week. Hit me up on Twitter if you've got any questions about how best to wear spell effects on your head. If you've got any questions about that, I'm your guy. I know it. I'm the only one who does know how to make that happen. All right. You're the best. Bye.